Welcome to Festival Flashback Friday. Today we're taking you back to 2020 and shining a spotlight on author Chanda Austin. She's the creative voice behind Qiana's Braids, a beautiful children's book celebrating the joy of natural black hair and the special experience of a day at the beauty salon. Let's revisit this inspiring moment from the virtual Festival of Books. So our first author coming up, she is amazing. I love her journey. She is Chanda Austin. She is coming to us from Atlanta, Georgia. She's been an administrator for over 20 years working in Atlanta schools. She is also the mother to an amazing young lady, and that inspired her book, Qiana's Braids, which is a wonderful children's book that talks about a little girl getting her hair braided for the first time. But it's not just a story about a little girl getting her hair braided. She actually takes us through a journey to Africa, telling us about what the different braids means. She is sponsored today by Connection to Creativity, and they have a fun event that they are going to put on for you in the breakout room. So my suggestion would be if you have children and you want them to have a breakout room, you might want to log in on another device. You can give your children one device and tune into Chanda's breakout room, and then you'll be free on another device to tune into a more adult room if you choose to. Just an idea. But without further ado, let's bring in our first author. Chanda, are you there?
I am here. Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you. You look fantastic, and I love your background.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how are you today?
I am great, Nadia. Thank you for having me. This is a blessing and just an opportunity anytime I'm able to get in front of people and talk about this journey and this story and the passion that I have behind it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you can be here. And again, that's exactly why we're here, because we need outlets to share our stories. And when I heard about your book, I was like, I need a children's author because I wanted a little something for everyone. So tell me a little bit about Qiana's Braids.
So when we talked about Qiana's Braids before, I think I gave you just kind of like the journey behind Qiana's Braids. As you said, I'm an educator. And being in that role, I just did not see enough stories. One, that highlighted children of color, and two, that told our stories in an authentic space. So that for the representation piece, I really wanted us to be represented in a different space. If you look at data around children of color, we're just not represented. About 15% of books house children of color. And my second inspiration was really my daughter, and she's given me permission to talk about our journey with her hair. And we were preparing to go on a cruise one time, and her hair just, it just wasn't doing right, for lack of a better word. And my stylist suggested that she get braids, and it literally changed how she looked about herself. So there was a piece there that, it was like an awakening there. And in the book, it talks about the beauty salon, and there's a subculture that happens there with Black women in our beauty salon. And there's like a rebirth space that happens. And I've been with my stylist for about 20 years, and she's become a part of my family. So as I wrote this book, and actually for anybody who's written a children's book, the pictures come alive with the illustrator. So that relationship was very important, that he was able to tell my story through pictures. And it has been an amazing journey, to be honest with you. And I wanted characters that looked like Black girls. I wanted characters that when Black girls look at the book, they can relate to it. A lot of times as an educator and working in the field of education, I see brown children that have white features. So it was really important to me that I was able to articulate what that needed to look like in a book.
And I love it. I think the illustrations are great. I think it's very true to life. What has your response been since releasing the book? You're how many months in? 2, 3 months?
Listen, I released this book June 17th, and I like to say this, it's not a brag, it's a blessing. I have sold 700 copies of this book.
Wonderful.
It's a blessing. It is a blessing. Some of the feedback that I have gotten has been when my daughter read this book, one of my friend said to me, she said, I'm not just saying this to you because you're a friend, but my daughter literally was touching her hair. So I was like, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want. And the flip side of that is that I've had non-Black people read the book and say to me, oh my God, I didn't realize the history behind braids. And so there's a story that needs to be told about braids. Yes, it's a protective styling piece, but it's also a history behind it, from the transatlantic slave movement all the way around to where really starting in Africa, where, I gave a little blurb about the origin of braids and how there's royalty attached to it and lineage attached to it, all the way up to the transatlantic slave movement, where they use braids to actually leave their masters' plantations. So there's power just in our stories, and a lot of times people don't know those stories. So I'm hoping that as little girls read it, Black and white, just all nationalities and ethnicities, that they'll walk away with some new information about something that has been dehumanized. And we talked about that before. And I would be remiss if I didn't have a conversation around Black hair and how the legislation around it. When you see the Crown Act of 2019, where Black women literally had to put something on the table to say, this is our hair. We should be able to wear our hair in its natural state. This is our God-given birthright. And so that's problematic for people of color when these things happen to us. As a Black woman, I've been told, do not wear your natural hair to in an interview to get it pressed out. And that's a real conversation for women of color.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought about when you first told me about your book. I know it's meant for children, but everything that we see going on now, from the military saying you can't have dreadlocks to different corporations saying you won't even get an interview, or you might not get hired, schools saying that kids can't come to school with braids in their hair. It sparks off so many conversations for me because, even I think in California, they had to have legislation saying, yes, Black people can wear their hair the way it grows out of their head. Absolutely. And not have repercussions from that, which is really sad that that's where we are in 2020. But I think that's why your book has done so well, because it does spark conversations with children trying to instill pride, both with adults also saying, I connect with it because I've had this experience.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to what you said about dreadlocks, and I want us to change our language around dreadlocks, because there's nothing dreadful about our hair. So when we say dreadlocks, it puts this negative connotation around hair. And when you see people being suspended from school, or not even, I just read an article recently about a young man who wasn't even allowed to walk in his commencement because he had locks. And how do you legislate that? How do you tell a person this is your natural hair that you can't wear? So we have to have some courageous, uncomfortable conversations around what that needs to look like in a lot of different spaces, not only education, but also in corporate. And we're in a good space, even though with the pandemic happening, people are really listening to our voices. And as a woman of color, this is not a new voice for me. This is a conversation that I've had with girlfriends. This is a conversation I've had with my parents. My parents own the beauty salon, beauty supply store right now. So I've been immersed in this culture for a while. And so we have to have these courageous conversations for things to happen and change.
Oh, so you definitely had an inside scoop because you've seen so many people where hair is such a big thing. I love beauty salons because I don't do my own hair.
Yes, absolutely.
Your family had the store. I was always in the store.
So, and just to talk about that for a second, Nadia, there's magic that happens in those spaces for Black women.
Absolutely.
There are places of healing. There are places of, when people get their hair done, you just feel different. So there's a responsibility there that's very different from other spaces, So when the reader reads the book, I want them to feel the energy of the book. And I was very particular about, as we went through this illustration process, it took me a while to get this done because I asked my illustrator to go back several times and change some of the pictures because I wanted the reader to feel the story. And especially, again, for children of color, they know, they've been in these spaces, and it's a very authentic space for Black women.
And how has your daughter responded? Like, she's watched you go through this journey. She knows it started with that moment with you guys going on the cruise and she trying something different with her hair. And now you're here 700 books later. What is she saying?
It's funny. She's kind of like, whatever. She's a teenager.
Teenager? Okay.
But it's funny, Nadia, guess what? She decided that she wants to wear her hair in a fro for the
Okay.
first school. And I was a little shocked, but I'm here to support it. I am absolutely here to support.
I love it. Well, that's part of the message, right? You wanted that pride.
Absolutely.
Are you guys having a first day of school? You're in Georgia, so that's a yes, right? You guys are actually going. Oh.
We are virtual. We'll be
Okay.
virtual.
Okay. I was like, okay, well, we've seen some Georgia breakouts already. So I was like, I was going to pray for you.
Yeah, still pray for us. The transition has been interesting to say the least. But
Sure.
yeah, I just hope that this platform opens up some really good, courageous conversations. I've been asked to sit on 2 boards of
Wow.
people who are not, of non-color. And I said to them, in this space, I need to be as authentic as I can be in order for us to get this work done. If you want to talk about diversity, if you want to talk about subcultures, if you want to talk about what happens in the beauty shop, if you want to talk about what happens with little Black girls and little Black boys, I have to have that space to be authentic. I have to have that space to not feel like, oh, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, because the conversations are going to be uncomfortable. If they were comfortable, we wouldn't be where we are.
Right. And I know that this is not a one and done venture, because this has been so successful already, just 2 months in. So what's coming next?
So I'm actually working on an HBCU coloring book. That's I'm taking a different journey. I'm coming back to Qiana, but I'm an HBCU graduate. I believe in them. And so that's my next project. I'm hoping to have it done. I wanted to have it done by October homecoming time, since nobody's really having one, but I don't know that it's going to happen. So my goal is to have it done at least by maybe December. And the process for a coloring book is a little different from this book.
Yeah. And you're taking the route that's a little more involved, not just writing down your words and releasing it, but you're getting the illustrators and you're having to deal with designs and taking what's in your mind and getting someone else to put it on a page. How has your journey been with all of that?
That relationship is really important, Nadia, in a children's book space, because again, you want people to understand those experiences. And I'm not saying that a person that's not Black can't have that experience, but typically, the person who kind of mentored me through this process, that's the first thing she said to me. I used the illustrator who really initially who didn't have these experiences. So with this illustrator who was a Black male, we really, he could feel it because he had the experience. He went to the beauty shop with his mother. He has a wife who goes to the beauty shop. That relationship for a children's author is really, really important, because those illustrations, let me tell you, Nadia, this is my second time trying to release this book. The first time that I wrote this book, I put it in front of some 5th graders and they ripped it. They were like, what? And my feelings wasn't, I wasn't even mad. Like, I literally had to come back to the table and do something different with it. And I sat with him and said, listen, that those little 5th graders, those people are my audience. And they were like, ooh, no, no, Miss Austin, no, these characters, they don't look like us.
So that's the truth from children.
And that's your audience. Of course, I know people bought it. My friends and family purchased it. But when the energy shifts and other people buy it and they give you feedback, that's the power in your work.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited for you. I'm going to say it again. I said it privately. I'm going to say it publicly. We need the companion book to this for little boys in the barbershop experience. So after your HBCU coloring book, just work on that, because little boys need something too. And I just want to thank you once again for coming to the stage. It's been a pleasure having you today. I know that you have something special in your breakout session where your book is actually going to be read and there's a little performance to go along with that, right?
Yes, it is. And that's like an hour from now. So
almost a little less. So I'm excited. I might have to pop in there and just see what's going on because I heard the details and I'm like, oh, that sounds fantastic. So
I'm
once
excited.
again, yeah.
I'm
So once again, for those of you out there who have children, her room is going to be children friendly. So if you want to put your children in that room, that might be a great idea where you will actually get to hear her book get read and see a performance. Thank you so much for coming by, Chanda.
Thank you for having me, Nadia. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. What an incredible reminder that you never know where your book will take you. After publishing Qiana's Braids, and that's Qiana, Qiana, Chanda Austin was invited to sit on 2 boards and sold over 700 copies in just 2 months. Her story shows that your words can open doors you never imagined. Thanks for joining us for this Festival Flashback Friday. And keep writing because your book just might take you further than you ever dreamed.